Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Aaron2for20, and I'm bringing you guys my week 2 of the Baby League, hosted by Lars, of course. I know this was supposed to go up last week, but there was a lot of scheduling issues since my vacation and all that, and then also my opponent had work to do and all that. So it was just a very busy game, and it ended up happening like on the upload day at like 11 o'clock. So I decided I was going to double upload today, so including my GBA team builder, I'm technically triple uploading today. So yeah, basically I'll go into my team real quick because I don't have a ton of time, but my team this week, first up, I brought AV Chinchou with dual stab being Hydro Pump and Surf. I also brought myself Hidden Power, I believe Hidden Power Ground, yeah, Hidden Power Ground and Volt Switch. Hidden Power Ground was so I could hit Elekid, because I forgot that this thing didn't actually get an electric immunity, so I was like, okay, you know, this thing kind of hard walls my set besides like Ice Beam, but Ice Beam doesn't do a ton of damage. Also hits things like a Stunky and the Lickitung if I don't want to risk Hydro Miss, I guess. Overall though, this moveset hits this thing pretty well. He has things that could sponge it, for example, like the Lickitung, which he brought, but that's probably like his best way around this, besides like maybe an AUV Elekid. Next up, I have Resto Chesto Mudbray with Stealth Rock, Rest, Earthquake, Payback. I was gonna bring Toxic, but then I realized that Payback could potentially be really nice for something that could be like an Earthquake resist. I know he had a couple, but for the most part, Earthquake is a pretty free move versus Spastic, mainly because, as you can see here, his team pretty much gets slaughtered by Earthquake. There's no real reason for Payback besides for the Abra, which was the only reason I brought it, just because I figured that it would do decent damage, and you know, maybe if he's, I don't know, to be honest, I probably didn't use Payback if I'm going to be completely honest, but it's whatever. We brought it anyway. So yeah, just let me be me. Next up, we brought Turtwig. I forgot. Chinchou's named Blub. Mudbray is Godbray because fuck Flame, and Crush the Turtwig with Curse Synthesis, Seed Bomb, and Earth Power. I brought Earth Power mainly because this set couldn't touch Stunky, and I did slightly more initially with Earth Power than I would have returned. If I got to +1, return was doing more, but it wasn't much more, and I figured that he's probably going to be more Fizz Def anyway, as my team is very scary Fizz Def wise, so I figured it could leave a lot of room to the Stunky to just hit it on the special end with Earth Power. I believe it's a 2-hit KO if I'm not mistaken. Also helps with things like Lickitung, for example, if I can't get set up pre-Lickitung coming in, and that actually happens in the match. So I'm really a fan of the Earth Power bring. I made sure I was able to 2-hit KO both. So yeah, that's really all there is to Turtwig. Next up, I have Torchic Fillet, our Torchic, with Quick Attack, Hidden Power Grass, Protect, and Overheat. I brought Quick Attack mainly as a way around Elekid, because if I'm at +1 speed, if he's a Scarf Elekid, I still don't have speed. Also, potentially for like a Scarf Abra if you want to bring that. And I can chip it off if, let's say, I don't want to go for Protect, risking that he may come, he may go for something to boost his speed. I don't know. Maybe there's a Z move that Abra gets. I think it gets Z Psychic Terrain, so that could have been terrifying. And had I protected on the turn he went for it, then, I mean, I'd kind of be fucked with the team that I brought, if I'm being completely honest. But luckily though, I sort of forgot about Psychic Terrain as well being a thing, which is another error in prep, I guess. Next up, I brought myself the Sticky Boy, our Swirlix. I brought it with Sticky Web, Play Rough, Magic Coat, and Toxic. I really only need Play Rough this week versus his team. I do really nice damage versus like everything, as you can see. Even the Stunkies hit neutrally, and that's one of his better answers for this, I guess. Toxic is there just for things such as a Lickitung. I brought Magic Coat to bounce back potential hazards. It doesn't look like he has any. I don't even think anything on his team besides Lickitung gets Stealth Rock, or at least on these 6, or any hazards for that matter. I know Stunky doesn't get Toxic Spikes, which would be the only other thing, if anything. But yeah, so Lickitung does get Stealth Rock, I believe. So that is something a little bit to work around, because as my team is fairly Rock Weak, I have things such as Chinchou. While it's not Rock Weak, it's going to be doing a lot of momentum. Torchic is Rock Weak. Rufflet is Rock Weak. And speaking of Rufflet, we got the little burb, our little Borb, our Rufflet, with Return, Brave Bird, Superpower, Roost. I brought Roost just because I know I'm going to probably be spamming my offensive moves, and I don't want Lickitung wearing me down. Everything else just gets slaughtered by this moveset though. Especially if I can get a Sticky Web up, his team is kind of fucked by bar Scarfers. So yeah, sorry for the pop-up window again. I opened my team in PK Hex yet again. I should probably have done it in-game, but I'm sort of pressed for time, and I didn't want to jam everything in and then resave it, even though it would have taken 30 seconds, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so let's get right into the actual game itself. So I'm predicting that Spastic is going to lead off with something like an Elekid, maybe because it would help him get momentum, as his team doesn't really have any like solid leads per se. So I lead off with Blub. I figured, you know, okay, he's probably not going to do a fuck ton to me. He decides he's going to lead off with Gotten, his Riolu, And this was in my opinion a fairly solid lead for me until I remembered that Riolu actually has a move pool. Most of the baby Pokemon that evolve through friendship have awful move pools. Riolu is like the one exception to this besides Magby. Actually, Magby, Elekid, and Riolu are like the only exceptions to this. And I think Spastic actually has all three of them. I know he has at least Elekid and Riolu for obvious reasons. I think he got well, no, he didn't get Magby, he has Lickitung. But anyway, I bring in my Sticky Boy here. I figured that I can go for a play rough. I could go for pretty much anything I want, to be honest. There wouldn't necessarily be a bad play versus him. I went for Sticky Webs in the end, mainly because I figured that if Elekid came in, or really if anything came in, it would be fine for me. And if he brought in the Stunky, I could always switch out. And even if he defogs, that's a free switch for me at the very least. So I don't need to worry about Godbray getting Toxic or anything. So I figured that was very safe. He still does decide to go for Toxic here, however, which is to me showing that he maybe doesn't have... For one, it shows me that he's probably not going to go for some offensive poison move versus me, which either that or he just predicted a switch really well. And in my opinion, also, it showed that he didn't have defog, chances are, because I felt like he would have clicked it. However, it seems like he was just trying to get off as much toxic damage as possible on my switch. And that's fine. I figured I'd get up rocks here because even if he defogged that turn, I'm still slowing it anyway. So it's going to force him to defog again if he needs to clear the rocks. And if he doesn't clear the rocks, then that's fine for me. So he actually goes for Sucker Punch here. Very good play on my opponent's part. However, I'm going to chew through that really easily. And he might think that he's winning this matchup until he realizes that I'm actually a Chesto variant with the rest. It's going to help me a lot in terms of beating things on his team overall, as this team's fairly Earthquake weak this week. As I said, I'm just able to spam Earthquake. His best switch-in would be like Lickitung. I was going to say Riolu, but Riolu is really frail, and there's no Violet. So anyway, though, he does bring in the Aber here. I figured that I can just sack at this point. I don't mind sacking. Worst comes to worst, I somehow live the hit, which I figured there was like no way because I'm at like 1/3 HP. And I figured it would be pretty hard because this team's also fairly specially offensive, it seems, besides like the Riolu and the Lickitung maybe. So it would have been a little hard to get off a rest. I got the Sunky cleared through anyway, so it's fine. He does actually go for the Psychic Terrain here, and that was, as I mentioned in prep, Psychic Terrain, very scary for my team, because I can't Quick Attack. I am relying solely on him not killing off my entire team. However, luckily he was not a Sash this week either, which makes me think that he was probably a Magic Guard Life Orb. And luckily I was able to kill him off with Play Rough, unlike last week when I missed my Play Rough. So that was very nice for us. He does bring in the Sparkman, however, and I figured, you know, I'm probably going to be fine until I realized this thing also gets Psychic. So again, a little threatening for my team this week. However, luckily, we do live the hit, even though it was a crit. So I'm able to now outspeed him for next turn. I got up the Sticky Webs this turn again. I figured that his Defogger is now gone, so he can't get rid of Sticky Webs, and it's very threatening for things such as the Elekid, also for the Lickitung, and I figured I was going to do decent damage with Playoff anyway. However, he sadly lives on a little bit. Not too concerned, though, because as I said, this was mainly just meant to get up webs and to just be a nuisance, I guess, versus his leads. He hasn't shown any hazards, so I don't overly mind sacking anyway. So I bring in Torchic Fillet here. I figured I can always protect and try and stall out Psychic Terrain turns, because then I can later on Quick Attack and just kill this thing off anyway, so I don't even need to worry about it being speed in case if, let's say, he was a Scarf Elekid. So, and now at +1 speed, it's going to be very nice versus Spastic's team overall. However, sadly, his terrain is not gone yet, so I am going to actually switch out here. I didn't count terrain turns. That was definitely an error on my part. I decided I'm going to sack Little Borb here because I could still use Turtwig very, very well in this matchup. And also the fact that I really badly do need to keep around Torchic overall. And Chinchou's gone, obviously. Sticky Boy's gone. And also, I believe I also sacked. I know I sacked something else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the point is, I only have this Turtwig and Torchic left, and Little Borb was definitely most expendable Mon. And the other two were so expendable that they died earlier on, and the third one I can't even remember what it was. Oh yeah, Godbray. Godbray got Toxic. But yeah. So I decided to roost here though, I figured, and then now I'm going for Brave Bird because I figured last turn I really just need the HP back. Also, it would help if maybe he was trying to go for an Ice Punch. Worst comes to worst, I'd end up losing because he predicted one for close combat. That's fine. This turn I went for the Brave Bird, mainly because even though I do have to sack off Little Borb, I figured it was fairly obvious he would have clicked for Fighting move this time around, as I clicked Roost last time, and I was around the same increment of HP. So here he does bring in Vengeance, his Lickitung, as I bring in Crush, the Turtwig. I figured that unless if he's like adamant, I'm going to actually take a Flare Blitz in this thing, believe it or not. I can take any fire move that this thing could have, unless if he is adamant with Flare Blitz and a boosting item. And luckily for me, I am able to actually chew this Flame Charge that he goes for instead. So that was very, very nice for me. And not only that, but I am now in a position where I can just click Earth Power, and I can do a fair amount of damage. He was actually a little bit bulkier than I expected. As you can see, he was able to take that fairly well. However, it's no big deal because he is now in range of Quick Attack from Torchic, and Torchic kind of cleans versus the rest of his team at +1. I decide here I'm going to ultimately switch into Torchic because I figured that there's no real reason not to, I guess, at this point. Because even if he's going to get to +2 speed, he's going to think that he can outspeed me, and I can just kill this thing off with Quick Attack. Then next turn I can go for a Protect just to make sure I kill through any Scarfers that he might have left, and then I win the game with Torchic at this point. So I do go for the Quick Attack here, and I'm able to kill off Vengeance, his Lickitung, and down goes the pretty kitty. And I am taking life over damage, of course, but it's no big deal. It's no big deal because he literally has like no ways around my team at this point, especially because I actually just remembered I also still have the webs up anyway. So this was a turn that was a little bit kind of shit for me, I guess, because it sort of brought us down to a position where we now need to outstall this Lickitung. I decided to go for an overheat here because I figured I could do a fair amount of damage. However, I did forget that this thing actually also gets Wish, and I figured with Wish comes Protect. So when he wished upon a star, he is going to be getting his HP back, and that does mean that I can't stay in anymore because I'm -2 special attack, and if he protects, I'm no longer in range to kill this thing off. So I do switch here, of course, into Crush our Turtwig, and now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to go for the Curse spam, because my opponent has literally nothing for Turtwig left at this point, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, he does have the Elekid left, but even if Elekid did kill me off, as I mentioned, I still have the webs up, and Torchic can always just go for Protect, just to guarantee outspeed to Scarf Elekid, and I can kill it off with Overheat. So his team essentially at this point loses to Turtwig, because now that I am at +1 in attack and defense, I am able to recover versus this thing fairly easily. If he doesn't have Toxic, I literally wouldn't with Turtwig at this point. And as you can see, he's going for another Wish, revealing to me he probably doesn't have Toxic, because I feel like Toxic would have probably been the move of choice there, especially when he was at such a high HP count already. And he should know that he's going to take this hit fairly well, as I think I had to get to like +4 or 5 before I was able to actually beat this thing 1v1. He's revealing here that he is actually a hidden power on his Lickitung. It's a neutral hidden power, which makes me believe it was maybe for something else than Turtwig. And as you see there, though, I'm doing like no damage with C-Bomb because I am no attack investment. I am a Spadef variant, so that was a little unfortunate. However, he's not doing any damage to me either. He's already revealed 3 of his moves, being the Hidden Power, Wish, and Protect. My guess is his 4th move might even be like Heal Bell in case of Toxic stalling and all that. So overall, though, I'm free to just set up curses versus his team. At this point in the game, I'm just trying to get myself boosted enough in attack and defense to the point where I can actually break through this Lickitung without it just Wish protecting on me every turn. So I'm just going to let him Wish Protect. You know, it's making him lose out on wishes anyway, which is only helpful for us. And I'm going to Synthesis here, mainly because I don't know what his 4th move is yet, and I'm still kind of nervous of it. But overall, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter at all. In fact, to be honest, because I'm just trying to get myself as set up as possible. He also can't even crit me because of the shell armor. So in the game, I know I was a little bit worried. I was like, you know, what if he crits me? But I sort of just remembered now that I couldn't have been crit. So again, a little irrational thinking, but overall, it didn't exactly lead to a choke or anything, so I'm not necessarily disappointed. I believe I'm either at +3 or +4 as of right now. And he is, of course, again, just burning through his wishes, perfectly fine by me. Doesn't really make a difference in terms of the outcome, as he has like no way to hit me. And as you can see here, I do go for the Seed Bomb, and from full, I am realizing I am doing just under half. So I'm going to go for another Curse here. I figured that I can just try and get myself up as high as I can, because I just want to break this thing to the point where he knows that even if he protects, he's going to lose a decent amount of HP each turn, and then I can just kill this thing off. He's, of course, going for the Hidden Power here, probably predicting that I'm going to go for more Curses, which is perfectly fine by me, because now I believe I'm at like +5 if I'm not mistaken. Point is, I'm at a hefty amount of HP. And even with his leftovers giving him HP back every turn, I'm still going to do fairly decent damage. Also his Wish, of course. Again, perfectly fine, because I'm able to just burn through this thing fairly easily. It's going to take a little bit of time, of course, but just because it takes time to set up the curses doesn't mean it wasn't easy to just sit in front of him and just set up curses until I won. And as we see here, we're going to be going for a Seed Bomb again, and this time we are doing just over half damage. So now, including the leftovers, we are officially wearing this thing down to the point where he cannot recover on us as long as I just keep going for Seed Bombs. So even if he's going to go for Protect, he's still going to lose a minuscule amount of HP. However, I do predict he's going to go for the protect here, of course, and I decide here that I'm just going to go for C-Bomb anyway. Main reason being is if he maybe got tired of the stall war, I could just click C-Bomb. If he didn't, then he could just protect. I sort of wanted to see how far I was going to really need to go with curses, because obviously if he was just going to say, you know what, he admits that he lost at this point, then why bother setting up more curses until the day I die? So I'm going to set up more curses here, because it does reveal to me, of course, that he's really in this for the long game, maybe hoping that I somehow run out of seed bombs, I guess. But little does he know I'm going to easily win this matchup in terms of seed bombs. So he's, of course, going to go for the hidden power here, and I'm just going to go for another curse, getting myself out. I believe this is the +6 point, if I'm not mistaken. I know at the very least I start attacking at this point. Main reason being is that he really doesn't have any answers at this point. As I mentioned, if he brought in the Elekid, we're just going to die. And the Lickitung is really just banking on just wishing up as much as possible just to stay as healthy as possible. So I go for the seed bomb here, of course, and as we see here, we're going to be getting him in range to the point where I'm going to take some decent damage on him, even if he decides to go for protect here. At this point, I am hoping that my opponent sort of realizes that protect is just futile and it's just timer stalling at this point, and it does seem like he realizes this now and realizes he has like no way around this Turtwig. Even if his Elekid was like a Z move or something, I don't even think he had Z Elekid, but even if it was, I believe I'm going to take any hit from the Elekid at this point, because it is a special Elekid and I'm a very, very Spid F Turtwig. And even if I don't, as I mentioned, webs are up. If he's Z move, he obviously will not speed me with webs up, and I can just freely kill it off anyway. And of course, luckily though, we do have the rocks up anyway from our good pal Godbray, and we have now defeated Spastic 2-0. So shoutouts to Spastic, very, very fun game. Make sure to check him out along with the rest of the Baby League coaches this season. That is going to be it for this week though. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like down below. Next week we take on Zilix. I am honestly forgetting his team name off the top of my head. I know I shouldn't be, but I hope you guys stick with us and see how we do next week. I will see you guys then. Peace out.